Cinematic wide shot of the vast plains of Wadi al-Hasnadar in Syria at dawn. Cold blue light transitioning to golden morning sun hitting the dusty earth. Close-up of Mongol archers standing shoulder to shoulder. Their leather armor worn and weathered, composite bows held with tension, eyes fixed on the horizon. Armenian crusader knights in polished chainmail and white surcoats with red crosses, standing in disciplined formation next to Mongol horsemen. Georgian cavalry lined up with tall spears, their ornate shields displaying orthodox crosses, positioned next to fierce Turkish warriors in pointed helmets. Portrait of Ghazan Khan, the Mongol emperor, looking commanding with a mix of traditional Mongol furs and ornate Islamic silk patterns. A dramatic silhouette of two massive armies facing each other across a valley, both flying banners representing Islamic traditions but in different cultural styles. Atmospheric scene of a scholar looking at an old map, the contrast between Mongol fire and Crusader architecture visualized as a surreal fusion. Flashback image of the fall of Baghdad, silhouettes of Mongol riders against a backdrop of towering flames and crumbling minarets. A tattered Crusader banner blowing in a desert wind, a lone knight looking toward a Mongol camp, representing a dying dream. A montage of diverse faces from around the world watching a digital screen, representing the global history community. A symbolic visual of shifting sands uncovering a massive stone map of the Middle East, representing changing power dynamics. A wide cinematic landscape of the Valley of Ain Jalut in Palestine, 1260, heat ripples rising from the arid ground. Low-angle shot of a Mongol warrior from General Kitbuka's army, looking confident and battle-hardened under a harsh midday sun. A map showing the Mongol Empire stretching from the Great Wall of China to the forests of Poland, colored in deep red. Intricate detail of the House of Wisdom in Baghdad being engulfed by smoke and Mongol arrows raining down from the sky. A Mongol general looking out over a cliff, the word defeat appearing as a foreign, incomprehensible symbol in the dust. Intense portrait of Sultan Qutuz of the Mamluks, his eyes burning with defiance as he plans his move in Cairo. The severed heads of Mongol envoys displayed on the dark wooden gates of Cairo, a grim warning against the sunset. A massive formation of 20,000 Mamluk elite cavalry in heavy armor, their lances forming a forest of steel. Hulagu Khan leading a massive column of troops away from the Middle East back toward the distant mountains of Mongolia. A high-stakes meeting in the Mongol capital of Karakorum, political scrolls and maps scattered across a low table. General Kitbuka, a Nayman general, wearing a small Nestorian cross around his neck over his heavy Mongol armor. Close-up of horse hooves clashing in the mud, blood and sand flying as the Battle of Ain Jalut reaches a fever pitch. Mamluk General Baibars signaling a retreat, his cavalry pulling back through a narrow mountain pass as Mongols follow. Mongol riders being surrounded by hidden Mamluk forces emerging from behind the sand dunes. Sultan Qutuz throwing his heavy steel helmet into the dust, his face sweat-streaked and full of religious fervor. Mamluk warriors charging with renewed energy, their green banners flowing behind them like a wave. Kitbuka fighting on foot, surrounded by enemies, his sword broken but his stance unyielding. A bound Kitbuka looking up at Qutuz with a look of stoic defiance, the desert sun behind his head. A metaphorical image of a boiling ocean of fire spilling across a map of the Middle East, from Azerbaijan to Egypt. The execution of Kitbuka in the Mamluk camp, a somber and historic moment of Mongol vulnerability. Broken Mongol banners and shields scattered across the valley of Ain Jalut after the battle. Mongol style, a cinematic shot of the Mamluk army celebrating on the battlefield, the sun setting on the first true Mongol defeat. Mongol style, a symbolic light shining over Cairo and the Nile, representing the survival of the Islamic heartland. Mongol style, Sultan Baibars standing on a balcony overlooking Damascus, now the master of the Middle East. Mongol style, a small map of the Crusader states on the coast, looking fragile and surrounded by the deep green of Mamluk territory. Mongol style, a strategic map showing the Armenian kingdom of Cilicia squeezed between the massive Mongol Ilkhanate and the Mamluk Sultanate. Mongol style, the Mediterranean coast of Cilicia, with its rugged mountains and fortified Christian castles overlooking the sea. Mongol style. King Heatham I signing a parchment with a Mongol seal, a look of heavy responsibility on his face. Mongol style. A set of scales with a small crown on one side and a massive Mongol sword on the other, representing the mathematics of power. Mongol style. King Heatham on a white horse leading a small caravan through the vast, empty steppes of Central Asia. Mongol style. Heatham crossing a treacherous mountain pass, the wind whipping his royal cloak as he looks toward the horizon. Mongol style. A close-up of King Heatham's determined eyes, reflecting the campfires of the Mongol camps he passed. Mongol style. Armenian soldiers in their distinct armor fighting alongside Mongol horse archers during the siege of a great city. Mongol style. The gates of Damascus opening to a mixed force of Mongols and Armenians, banners of both nations flying together. Mongol style. Mongol heavy cavalry standing guard at the borders of Armenia, deterring Seljuk raiders. Mongol style. A visual shift from blue Mongol colors to the dark green of the Mamluks, representing the shift in power after Ain Jalut. Mongol style. Sultan Baybars looking at a map of Armenia with a vengeful expression, remembering their alliance with the Mongols. Mongol style. Armenian cities in flames, Mamluk cavalry riding through the streets, a scene of total devastation. Mongol style. A somber image of Heatham's sons in chains, being led away as captives into the desert. Mongol style. King Heatham looking at the ruins of his palace, a symbolic choice between extinction and a difficult alliance. Mongol style. A hand reaching out toward a Mongol wolf totem while being surrounded by Mamluk swords, representing the least terrible choice. Mongol style. The Armenian landscape in the late 13th century, showing smoke on the horizons from the south and west. Mongol style. A map showing the Mongol Ilkhanate fractured by civil war, internal lines of conflict dividing the empire. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan as a young man, standing in a Persian garden, looking at an Islamic scroll with deep concentration. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan kneeling in prayer in a magnificent mosque, his Mongol warriors following his lead. Mongol style. A ghostly image of Hulagu Khan looming over the modern Ghazan, representing the violent legacy Ghazan inherited. Mongol style. The burning of the House of Wisdom, scrolls falling into the Tigris River like black snow. Mongol style. A grim, stylized visual of a royal carpet being rolled over a figure, with horse shadows trampling across it. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan wearing a crown that fuses Mongol gold with Islamic geometry, representing his new identity. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan in his library, surrounded by texts in multiple languages including Chinese, Arabic, and Tibetan. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan looking through a medieval astrolabe at the stars over Persia, showing his interest in science. Mongol style. Ghazan being acclaimed by a massive army of Muslim soldiers, a move of political brilliance. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan walking through a Persian marketplace, the local people bowing to him as their legitimate Muslim ruler. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan pointing his sword toward the Mamluk borders, despite his shared faith with his enemies. Mongol style. A golden Mongol throne standing empty, representing the loss of honor Ghazan sought to reclaim. Mongol style. A scribe writing a letter in beautiful Arabic calligraphy, detailing Ghazan's claim to be God's chosen purifier. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan portrayed as a heroic figure bringing justice, contrasting with the tyranny of the Mamluk sultans. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan looking at a cross-shaped pendant sent from the west, the only allies he could find. Mongol style. Heatham II of Armenia, weary and battle-worn, dictating a message of desperation to the Mongol Ilkhan. Mongol style. A massive diverse army assembling, a tapestry of different cultures, armors, and banners under the Ilkhanate sun. Mongol style. A Syrian peasant peeking from behind a mud wall, watching the endless line of warriors march past. Mongol style. Mongol heavy cavalry on small but powerful horses, their skin darkened by the sun, composite bows slung over their backs. Mongol style. A wide shot showing 60,000 Mongol riders, a literal sea of horses stretching to the horizon. Mongol style. Georgian warriors in heavy plate and mail, their shields painted with bold red Orthodox crosses. Mongol style. The 40,000-strong Georgian contingent moving with the discipline of a mountain-born army. Mongol style. Heatham II leading his 5,000 elite Armenian knights, their armor reflecting a lifetime of defensive warfare. Mongol style. A close-up of an Armenian knight's face, etched with the memory of his destroyed homeland. Mongol style. A few Templar and Hospitaller knights in their iconic white and black surcoats, their presence adding a legendary weight to the army. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan leading the front, his Islamic faith and Mongol heritage visible in his dual-style war gear. Mongol style. The army marching south into the Syrian desert, the dust rising in a massive cloud visible for miles. Mongol style. A vision of the Golden Dome of Jerusalem reflecting in the eyes of a Christian soldier. Mongol style. Ghazan's letters being read in a European court, the promise of the Holy Land's return causing a stir. Mongol style. A montage of previous Mongol promises failing, like sand slipping through fingers. Mongol style. The ruins of Acre, the last Crusader stronghold, the sea crashing against the broken walls. Mongol style. Jacques de Molay, the Templar Grandmaster, in a dark chamber surrounded by maps and scrolls of the Mongol alliance. Mongol style. De Molay addressing a group of skeptical European kings in a dimly lit hall. Mongol style. A small fleet of Templar ships sailing toward the Syrian coast, under the cover of night. Mongol style. A European palace scene, kings focused on their own maps of Europe, ignoring the plight of the East. Mongol style. Templar and Hospitaller knights looking at their empty coffers and aging walls, the weight of their crisis showing. Mongol style. The pre-dawn light of December 22nd, 1299, at Wadi al-Khaznadar, the air thick with tension and cold mist. Mongol style. A wide view of the battlefield at 5 a.m., the two armies forming dark, massive shapes against the gray landscape. Mongol style. Sultan al-Nasir Muhammad looking through the mist at the massive Mongol coalition, his face set in stone. Mongol style. 30,000 Mamluk cavalry, the lions of Islam, their heavy horses armor-plated and ready for the charge. Mongol style. A flashback to the victory at Ain Jalut, the Mamluks standing triumphant over the Mongol dead. Mongol style. The sheer scale of Ghazan Khan's coalition army, a formidable sight as the first light hits their spears. Mongol style. The sun breaking over the horizon, signaling the start of the massive clash. Mongol style. The Mamluk cavalry charging with full force, a wall of steel and muscle moving across the desert. Mongol style. A high-speed shot of Mamluk riders slamming into the Mongol lines, sparks flying from clashing swords. Mongol style. Mamluk armor close-up, thick and resilient, designed for the brutal close combat of the day. Mongol style. Mongol archers retreating while firing backwards, a fluid and deadly dance of evasion. Mongol style. The Mamluks pushing hard, through the rain of arrows, their momentum seemingly unstoppable. Mongol style. A sudden cloud of arrows darkening the sky over the Mamluk right flank, the impact visible and devastating. Mongol style. Chaos in the Mamluk ranks, horses rearing and fallen warriors littering the sand. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan raising his sword, a signal flame being lit behind him to order the counterattack. Mongol style. Mongol heavy cavalry, in their dark iron armor, smashing into the Mamluk lines like a hammer. Mongol style. Georgian and Armenian soldiers flooding into the gaps, their different styles of warfare merging into one force. Mongol style. The center of the Mamluk line fracturing, banners falling into the blood-soaked mud. Mongol style. A panicked Mamluk messenger trying to reach the other side of the massive, chaotic battlefield. Mongol style. Sultan al-Nasir Muhammad signaling the retreat, his face a mask of bitter disappointment as he turns his horse. Mongol style. The Mamluk retreat turning into a desperate rout, horses galloping wildly away from the victorious coalition. Mongol style. Maronite and Druze archers emerging from the Syrian hills, raining arrows down on the fleeing Mamluks. Mongol style. A montage of local Syrian faces, Christian and Muslim, unified in their rejection of Mamluk rule. Mongol style. The Mongol army entering the gates of Damascus, the city surrendering in the cold winter air. Mongol style. Mongol riders moving through the hills of Palestine, their scouts looking toward the distant walls of Jerusalem. Mongol style. A town crier in a European square shouting Jerusalem is liberated, the crowd cheering wildly. Mongol style. A celebratory scene in a European church, hundreds of candles lit in thanksgiving. Mongol style. A desolate and quiet street in Jerusalem, the city empty and forgotten by the main conflict. Mongol style. Hethum II looking at the distant city of Jerusalem, a moment of unverified historical claim. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan inspecting the wealth of Damascus, focusing on the economic heart of his new conquest. Mongol style. The Mongol army packing their camps, a massive movement of people and horses heading back toward Persia. Mongol style. A barren Syrian landscape, the ground picked clean by thousands of hungry horses. Mongol style. Ghazan receiving an urgent scroll about an invasion from the Chagatai Khanate in the east. Mongol style. General Mulai standing with his small 10,000-man force, looking vulnerable as the main army leaves. Mongol style. Mamluk General Baybars al-Jashnijir rallying a new, massive army in Egypt, their resolve hardened. Mongol style. The Mamluks retaking Damascus, the green banners replacing the Mongol wolf once again. Mongol style. King Hethum II looking at the snow-covered mountains, waiting for a Mongol army that never arrives. Mongol style. A Mongol army struggling through heavy rain and mud in 1301, their momentum lost to the weather. Mongol style. The massive Mongol army of 1303, numbering 80,000, clashing with Mamluks in a final, desperate battle. Mongol style. The Battle of Shakab, a total rout of the Mongol forces, the desert covered in their retreat. Mongol style. The tomb of Ghazan Khan, the young emperor dead at 32, the last hope for the alliance buried with him. Mongol style. The island of Ruad, a small rocky outpost besieged by a massive Mamluk fleet. Mongol style. Templar knights fighting on the walls of Ruad, their white surcoats stained with blood and dust. Mongol style. A grim scene of the broken promise, Templar knights being led to execution by the Mamluks. Mongol style. The British entering Jerusalem in 1917, a jump forward in time to the next time a Christian force took the city. Mongol style. King Hethum II looking out over a lost kingdom, the weight of the failed hope visible in his posture. Mongol style. A montage showing the brief victory of 1299 fading into the inevitable Mamluk reconquest. Mongol style. The multithnic army of 1299 standing together, a symbolic image of the complexity of history. Mongol style. A symbolic image of power politics. A crown, a crescent, and a cross intertwined on a game board. Mongol style. Hethum I in 1247, making his difficult choice, the shadow of the Mongol wolf behind him. Mongol style. Ghazan Khan's conversion ceremony, a moment of profound political and personal transformation. Mongol style. Jacques de Molay on the island of Ruad, looking out at the sea, the last believer in the Crusader dream. Mongol style. De Molay being arrested by the guards of King Philip of France, the end of the Templar Order. Mongol style. The Battle of Wadi al-Hasnadar portrayed as a vivid but fleeting spark in a dark age. Mongol style. A map showing the transient nature of the Mongol conquests in Syria, the lines appearing and then vanishing. Mongol style. A visual representation of strategy. Chess pieces on a board that is slowly being engulfed by a desert storm. European kings turning away from a messenger, a symbolic representation of the loss of will. The small, isolated Crusader kingdoms looking like tiny islands in a vast green Mamluk sea. A Mongol warrior looking at his own reflection in a broken shield, representing the internal chaos of the empire. A final cinematic shot of a sunset over the ruins of a Crusader castle in Syria, symbolizing the beauty and tragedy of history's complexity.